common question I get is, why am I the only one sick in the house? Or if I'm talking to a mom and one of her kids is really sick and like, why isn't Billy just as bad as Jimmy? Okay. Why is everyone not the same level of sickness if there's a mold problem in the house? Because it makes sense. It's like, if we have something toxic in the house, it should be affecting everyone, but it does not. Let's talk about why. And there's a few reasons why, and I made some notes here so I don't forget anything. But okay, let's talk about men first. Let's talk about me first. Men have a God-given hack or cheat, and I'm sorry, ladies and kids and pets, but our testosterone is mycotoxin protective. So we have an inbuilt hack that keeps us from being as affected. Doesn't mean we don't get affected. I've seen lots of sick men and men that are sick and don't think they're sick, but their wives know they have problems. But that gives us a higher level of protection of everyone else, which is awesome for us. But it's bad for the family when the men are thick-headed and they won't believe that their wife's sick, or they won't listen to them as they talk about mold, or they won't do what their kids need help with because their kids are sick, all because they're not feeling it. That's a problem. So men, if you're listening, understand that we have this inbuilt cheat that keeps us healthier than everyone else in our family, and we have to be loving and understanding and figure out what's wrong with them and go beside them and support them, not tell them, that it can't be mold. All right, so that's men. But one of the biggest determining factors is the immune strength. Okay, when we're breathing in these toxic molds, mold spores, mold fragments, water damaged bacteria, mycotoxins, that's a lot for our immune system to digest. And I don't mean digest like in the gut, I mean process. Okay, it has to tag these things, it has to send them to the liver. And if someone's immune strength is stronger than someone else's, which can go all the way back to birth. Was this child a C-section and this was a natural birth? A C-section misses out on that good bacteria, which helps build their immune system. Like, we can go all the way back to day one to determine why someone could be healthier than someone else, which then makes them more susceptible to mold and toxins. But is someone's immune strength stronger than someone else's? Okay. And then it goes to liver, because the liver's processing a lot of these mycotoxins. Kidneys, because we do a urine test for testing for mycotoxins. But the liver too. So if someone has an unhappy liver, they're not processing as well. Pooping. Okay. If one kid is pooping twice a day and one kid is pooping every 3 days, the one pooping every day is getting those mycotoxins out. Then they're not getting reabsorbed through the intestinal wall, back into circulation and going back and accumulating in the body. Because what you don't eliminate, you're accumulating. So just pooping can make a difference. I know this is getting crazy. So many different factors. Stress. Okay. Say you've got an awful job or an awful boss or something and you're stressed all the time, that affects the immune system. Your immune system is affected. It can't do as good a job as processing all the garbage from a moldy house. Genetics. Maybe you have HLA-DR gene, maybe you have MTHFR, maybe you have different variations that are preventing you from processing this garbage, as well as your husband, or as well as your kids, or as well as someone else in your home. That can make a big impact. Sex, talked about that. Men have an advantage that women don't, okay? Age, little kids, their immune system is still developing. So you take a little kid and they're born into a moldy home and they're just bombarded with this toxicity. And yep, I know I'm over my 3 minutes here. This is a big question. I'm going to go over. Bombarded by this toxicity, well, their gut microbiome is still developing, their immune system's still developing, and they just can't fight it off sometimes. That's when you get kids with, eczema going crazy. That's when you get kids with gut issues and other skin issues that aren't full body eczema, alopecia, all these different things that happen when the immune system can't handle the stress that's put on it by a water damaged house. Diet is, if someone in the house is eating, organic and clean and plant-based and just a few clean, organic meats, and they're, eating healthy, but you've got a teenager that's eating McDonald's every day and chips and inflammatory foods, that's predisposing them to more problems, right? Another big thing is, let's go with the last one of, where is the mold? Okay. A lot of this can be dictated by where the mold problem is in the house. Maybe in your kid's room, there's Stachybotrys growing under the window, or maybe there's a bathroom that backs up to their room, like their closet, and the shower's got a leak behind it, and the problem is literally growing right in your child's space, and it just keeps feeding in. Okay, so let's talk about us, for example. when all hell broke loose for us, it was our son that got sick, Isaac, and in his window in his room, in between the two panes of glass, was mold. I saw it. I didn't know that mold could be toxic. That I started out knowing nothing as well, just like everyone else. But that penicillium just kept pumping mycophenolic acid into his room, and he's the one that crashed. He went to bed normal that night and woke up with mast cell symptoms in the middle of the night, and it hit the fan. Okay, so that's location. So you could be another family sleeping upstairs, child sleeping in the basement, child got very sick. Family's going, well, none of us are sick. Can't be the house, until they finally determine that, yeah, it was the house. The basement had mold. So that's a pile of the variables. There'll be more, but those are kind of the biggest ones, the most obvious ones, the ones that are driving these sicknesses and people in the house. It's usually one of those or a combination thereof. So I hope that answers your question as to why some people get sick and others don't. It's not because there's not a mold problem. It's not because that person did anything wrong. They just may have a weaker immune system. That genetically they may be not as ready to process those as you, and maybe there's mold growing right in their bedroom or right beside it. So I hope that helps, guys.
Do you have questions about mold in your home or body? Book a consultation with Matt, aka the Mold Man, to guide your home and body to the next level of healing.